There is apparently a Buffy revival, coming in
Mm,
the works there. So it says that here Sarah Michelle Gellar is set to return there as Buffy. And yeah, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna say Hulu, it's gonna be maybe streaming there. And Chloe Zhao, who people know, she did the movie, what was it that was nominated for Best Picture? Was it Nomadland? I think that was the movie she directed.
mhm.
Chloe Zhao, and she also did Eternals. I know you don't really like Eternals that much, but
No, but I also feel like a lot of the Marvel films I don't care for are the studio bringing in like indie directors because the studio knows they can push the indie directors around a little bit. So I would not judge her based on Eternals necessarily.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, No Man Land was the movie there. So this one is set to so she's not gonna be the Slayer, it's gonna be a new Slayer there that they're gonna focus on. And then Yellow says here will appear in a recurring role there.
Sure.
I wonder how Chloe Zhao got attached to this there. It's interesting. But yeah, um I don't think there's any word on whether or not Whedon will come back to
I would be
write it.
surprised.
Yeah, it
I
says here
wouldn't be
notably
surprised.
absent from the incoming installment is Buffy creator and showrunner Joss Whedon. And in 2021, Charisma Carpenter, who starred in both Buffy and spinoff Angel, publicly accused Whedon of abusing his power and creating a hostile and toxic work environment. Allegations that were subsequently corroborated by her co-stars Amber Benson and Michelle Trachtenberger. So don't know if he's gonna be involved as of yet. Yeah, so but, Geller, has not commented on the latest installment in the beloved Supernatural franchise. She did, however, drop a Buffy Easter egg, a nod to her character's yummy sushi pajamas, and a cheeky Instagram selfie just the day before the project broke, there. What's your, kinda thoughts there?
I mean, I there's a lot of revivals that have turned out to be good. Um, there's plenty that have turned out to be bad. We'll wait, we'll see how it goes. Buffy is one of those series that now I didn't do it by as I joked earlier about Supernatural going on for 15 extra seasons. And Buffy did not go on, to as much of an extent as that did, but it did still outlive its original run, right? Its original intended run. That show was supposed to be 5 seasons, and they kind of wrote themselves back in and kind of kept the show going. And what came in those in the it was only 2 extra seasons, but what came in those was mixed. Sometimes I would still be good at times, but it was a mixed bag. So it's already a series that has kind of lived past its best days in some capacity. So we'll see how the revival goes. I'm a little skeptical for that reason. But maybe they've got a great idea. We'll wait and see. I won't judge too hard until I see a trailer.
Mm, okay. Yeah. I watched this way back, binged it all, one of those just one of those times watching it. I forgot where you can stream it now because I don't know if it's still on. I think it used to be on Netflix. I don't know where you can watch it now. But
I've
yeah, I
got the
mean,
box sets, so I never have to go to the streaming service.
yeah, I got the box set there. Man, I mean, I should get one of those. Yeah, man, I should get the box set for this because I did really like it. I mean, the last
On Hulu.
couple seasons, I think is not as strong as maybe the first few. And with a genre show, the first season is kind of like monster of the week there type thing, and it takes a little bit to find its footing. But when it does, it's pretty strong. It has that Whedon kind of writing kind of style tone to it, the quippy kind of things, pop culture references. Strong female characters you got kind of there. It's kind of got the Whedon kind of notable things there. So does that make you kind of worried that with this revival that possibly he's not going to be coming back and producing it, writing it, directing it?
Um, I mean, it's his fingerprint is all over the writing, right? Like, I mean, no matter how you might feel about him as a guy, based on all the stuff that came out, it is his writing, and it will be different without him being involved. It's hard to say if that's going to be a detriment or not. I mean, it's entirely possible that they have a great team here and they're able to kind of do something great and live up to the legacy of the series. But it's also possible that it feels like it's lost its identity. Um, I'm 50-50. I could see it really going either way. It's hard to say since there's not like footage or anything to look at yet. But we'll see what happens. I mean, there's comic books that were like kind of continued the stories of the series, and then the Angel uh, TV show as well, which was a spinoff, which I actually personally think was a better show, even as much as I was a fan of Buffy, or still am a fan of that series. I think Angel is actually the stronger one. Um, but my curiosity will be in is if did they kind of completely ignore those comic books because Joss Whedon was involved with those comics and those comics were kind of written to be the next seasons and the next stories within those worlds. So I'll be
Mm.
curious if they really kind of disregard those comics or if they're like, oh, those comics happened, but we're taking place after them, or I don't know. I mean, I can show you though. This is one of my other tattoos was a Buffy tattoo, so I'm a fan, and I'll definitely be watching out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's good you mentioned, yeah, the comics, which, yeah, are continuations of the show. They did one for Buffy, they did one for Angel, they even did one for
The
Fire.
Buffy ones are literally called season 8, season 9, season 10, like each book.
Mm, yeah, and I picked up a few of them to read them, and I know well, it follows because so if people know what happened at the end of the show with Buffy, she released I forgot what they called it, but, like, the Slayer spirit or whatever, and then so it activated all people who were
Yeah,
going to become Slayers in, like, the future or something, and then so, like
yeah. This is like there's only one at a time for most of the show, and it's like all potential Slayers are like, well, okay, now they all are Slayers.
yeah, so them saying, like, the premise of the show is gonna be, like, a new Slayer, and then she's gonna, like, mentor that Slayer, and the Slayers are always women, it's always a woman that's the
Yep.
Slayer, so it makes me think, yeah, are they gonna ignore the comics, and say that it's gonna go back to just one at a time? But then well, if
But that was
because
in the show that they did that, not the comic. The
yeah.
show would the let's activate all of them kind of thing. So they'd have to ignore part of the show to undo that.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah, so, yeah, like you say, yeah, the show there, and then so, yeah, probably still continuing that because in order for there to be a new Slayer completely, the old Slayer has to die for the new Slayer, so it probably still continue that she did activate all of them, and then she's just training one of them now, and then
Right.
taking care of it, and I think in the final season, she did team up with them, it was like a team of, like it was like a bunch of Slayers versus, I forgot what they were fighting exactly, but,
So the last season, the villain is it's literally supposed to be like the very first demon or first evil that like ever existed, and it's like a kind of Lovecraftian like primordial thing, and it'll like shapeshift into different characters, and like it was less of like a specific kind of figure that they could really fight. But its henchman was Nathan Fillion as Caleb, this like evil priest character, and so he was kind of the face of the villain a little bit more
oh,
in that
yeah.
season.
Yeah, I
He
remember
he
yeah.
was great. He was great. Like for I think those last two seasons are kind of a mixed bag and uneven. There's some good stuff in there and some bad stuff in there, but Nathan Fillion was easily one of the best things about that last stretch of the
Yeah.
show.
Made me think, yeah, he should probably play some villains. Yeah, I think he was really creepy as Caleb there. And I remember that because yeah, he poked out Xander's eye, like, he poked out his yeah, that was a pretty
Yep,
rad
yep.
rad moment there. And speaking about people who, might come back to the show, I know the actor who plays it, I think he got caught up in also some, like, personal trouble as well.
Yeah, I know. I know he's had like some drug problems, and yeah, I don't know too much of the details about it. I know he's struggled for sure. I don't know if he's on like good terms or not with of the other actors or people from the show, but he definitely he's definitely had a time of it.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, I don't know, yeah, who all is gonna probably come back. I imagine maybe Allison Hannigan probably is. I think.
I would, yeah, she's done well enough for herself, and she seems like I'd be surprised if she wouldn't show back up.
Yeah, I don't know if you can maybe bring back somebody like James Master because the point is like they're a vampire and they don't age, and I don't know if you could maybe.
Yeah,
I
that'd
mean,
be
you'd have
kind
to do
of
some
tricky.
de aging and makeup, maybe.
If you could do it with makeup, I'd say go for it. But if if it's go, let's go CGI with it, then I don't even want to see it.
Yeah, same thing with like David Boreanaz and things like
Yeah,
that. So it's like I don't know, that might be a little tricky. Um,
if you could
and
find an excuse for them to have like turned human again or something.
oh yeah, maybe yeah they'll come. Yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe they'll do something. But yeah, is there anybody from the main cast you would love to see come back? Yeah, be a part of it.
I
Like
mean,
you
I
can't do
always
the show
thought
without them.
I would like to see Anthony Stewart Head involved somewhere in
Okay.
there as Giles. He always just had such a great presence in the. I mean, you know, for that kind of show, you have this very young cast of actors that and great chemistry. But he was like kind of to me always felt like here's the veteran actor on the show that really kind of holds it all together and it gives it an extra sense of like gravitas when it needs to.
Mm, yeah. I just recently he was on Ted Lasso, and he was on that. He looks still it looks pretty good. Him. So he's on Ted Lasso there. So that's potential there. Do you think it'd be better? I know they were kind of toying with the idea at first of doing like an animated series. Do you think that would have been better if they did like an animated?
I would rather see that personally because I feel like if you were to do that, you could just adapt the comics that already exist, and
Mm,
I thought those were pretty interesting. I don't know if that's you want to get away from what the stuff with that Joss Whedon wrote, but at the same time, it's like they already exist. It's not like he'd be writing the show. You could just adapt from those. Now, what is this from? Because I have not seen this before.
So this was like the little pilot that they showed there as like proof of
Oh,
concept a
okay.
little bit of like what they would do. So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, and they canceled it before obviously we got a full episode there of it or a full season. But a full season was yeah gonna be done and it was already so you can see that this was like the test kind of footage for it and what it's gonna
Okay.
look like.
Well,
And
and
it
then the
had
way that footage looks, it almost kind of looks like, let's tackle the idea of the show from scratch again, or kind of in the middle of it, maybe somewhere. It's like
yeah.
she dropped it right there. Whereas I would, if they were gonna really do it, I would love to see them just go like, all right, we're calling it season 8. We're basing it off of the comic that was called season 8, and this is like just direct continuation.
Yeah, because in the comics, I think it's like, okay, she's from what I remember from it, it was like, okay, she still has the team of Slayers, and they kinda treat it like a almost like a Black Ops team, like, they go out on missions.
It feels very X-Men, when X-Men when it's at its most like paramilitary.
Yeah, it's kinda like that, and, she's still with, Xander and, what was her cha
Willow.
Willow, yeah, she was with Willow, so they're still with her and, you
I
know,
got to go back and read more of them at some point because I also remember like Spike is missing and then he shows up with on like a spaceship with a bunch of alien bugs that all have British accents because they learned English from him. Like I don't know where it started getting pretty weird.
yeah, I don't know, I never read the Angel comics, I don't know where those went, really all that much.
There was some interesting stuff in those too. I've got a couple on my shelf.
Okay, the ending to that show was badass, though, I love the ending to Angel, that was
I
badass.
think that had a great ending. Personally, that's part of why I would say that that is the better of the two shows because I genuinely think each season was better than the one before it, and then it ended on its best season, and it had, like you said, it had a genuinely really badass, just like last shot. I was like, that's kind of just perfect. Like that is a perfect way to end a TV show like this.
Yeah, yeah, because that was like it was just like him just swinging the sword, and it was like I think he was, like, facing off against, like, a horde of them all coming at him and everything like
Yeah, it's like
that.
a horde and like a dragon flying over, and yeah.
Oh,
Which I think the comic I have actually or maybe it's not the book I have, but one of the comics that they did. You get to see him fight that dragon.
Yeah, and doesn't he like make the dragon his pet or something like that, or like he rides
Yeah,
it?
in the comic he like tamed it. Yeah,
Yeah. But this was like a badass kind of thing there. And it, like, yeah, just kind of each season got better. And then it was like the last season was like he was infiltrating like this Illuminati kind of gang. So he thought he turned back into like Angelus was like his evil was without him
yeah.
without a soul and
And
that.
they
But he
were all working at the law firm too at the
yeah,
same time as that. They all got like sucked into like, well, maybe we can change it from the inside, and then the kind of splitting apart of the team dynamic. And I mean, what they did with like Winifred and Wesley in that like that's some of my favorite TV like of all time.
yeah. Let's
I'm feeling grief for him.
like in this show they bounced off each other really well. James Masters and Dave Boreanaz. They had a lot of
Oh
fun
yeah,
bits in the show. I remember the episode where he turned into a puppet. Like that was funny.
that's exactly what I was about to bring up. Smile time.
Yeah, and he was making fun of him for being a puppet. He's like, "You're a bloody puppet." Oh man, that was a good one.
I can't seem to control it. I wish to do more violence.
Well, wishes just happen to be horses today, among other things.
Yeah, that dragon does not look the best.
It doesn't. It looked good when this aired. I'll say that. It looked good at the time.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is this is not. This is a little bit
No.
before that.
Okay, you take the 30,000 on the left.
You're fading. You'll last 10 minutes at best.
And let's make them memorable. And in terms of a plan, we fight. Bit more specific?
Well, personally, I kind of want to slay the dragon. Let's go to work.
Like that was just a badass I think ending to that show. Yeah,
No, that was great. I love the way they left that show off. And then, like that. I mean, it's the whole final episode is a really great. It's probably one of my favorite TV finales. With what they do with the Wesley character, and then Illyria, right, the goddess that took over Fred's body there, and that whole scene where she's like, "Do you want me to lie to you now?" as he's dying, and it's like that is like one of the best TV show finales that I think has ever been done.
yeah, yeah, really strong. Yeah, ending to that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll be anticipating to see what they do. Like you said, trailers, see what is going to be there. With that, who they're going to get to be the new titular Slayer there for that as well. And yeah, I'd love to see some of these older cast members come back. Alyssa Hannigan there, Elijah Dushku there. I'd like to see her come back.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was the rebel Slayer. She was like, I'm trying to
yeah,
think of
great.
a comparison there. I'm trying to think of like uh in
Uh,
media. Uh, yeah, like you always have kind of like more of the like the badass, cooler, you know what I mean, version of them.
yeah. Sonic and Shadow.
Sonic and Shadow, yeah, like this, yeah, Sonic and Shadow there. You got that, yeah, that's kind of a good thing, yeah. She's kind of a little bit more like because she would actually kill people instead of demons. So it's
She
like, yeah,
would, she would. Well,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, she had this much more traumatizing upbringing, and I mean, she was like a full-on bad guy for part of the show, and I mean, a lot of her character arc played out on Angel rather than Buffy, even, and that's where some of her best material was.
yeah. So yeah, we'll see.